Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Okay. All right, Melissa, take it away.
Welcome everybody to the April 4th Monday Chamber Lunch. How's everybody doing today? Everybody's happy. All right. We're gonna, Renee, get us a flag. Let's do this flag salute. Ready? Hand over your heart. Let's go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Here we go, Renee. Let's start this baby off with Renee's list of announcements.
Thank you, Melissa. So this Thursday, oh, sorry, I have my wrong agenda. I have last week's agenda. Oh, please. I have the correct agenda. I'm like, wait, no, it's not this week. It was last week. Senator Mike McGuire is hosting a town hall discussion on homeless housing and services tomorrow, April 5th at 6:30. This will be a virtual event that you can view live on Senator McGuire's Senate page. Give us a call and we will give you the link. The annual Fortuna State of the City breakfast is scheduled for Thursday, April 28th. Doors will open at 7 a.m. with the program to run 7:30 to 9. Tickets are $25 and are currently on sale. You can swing by the chamber office and get one, or you can go online to fortunachamber.com/state of the city and get your tickets. And that is sponsored by Redwood Capital Bank and catered by CC Catering. And all I have to say is to keep pecan buns. So there you go. The Redwood Riverwalk Boutique Motel is hosting a Humboldt Hoot Nanny on April 20th. They're going to have local artisans, a scavenger hunt, a raffle, snacks, and a bunch of other stuff. It's from 2 to 7. Come by anytime. You can see all the new art that they've got. We got to go through there a couple of days ago and saw some of the new murals and things that they've got. It's really amazing. River Life Foundation will have an Earth Day barbecue fundraiser at the Fortuna Veterans Building on April 23rd from 1 to 4 p.m. They'll also have a silent auction and a raffle. Barbecue tickets are $10 and can be purchased at the door. The North Coast SBDC is putting on a free small business capital summit at the River Lodge on Monday, May 2nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lunch will be included. The program will feature financing options for small businesses and presentations from local lenders, including Redwood Capital Bank, American Ag Credit, AEDC, and Umpqua Bank. For more information, you can go to northcoastsbdc.org. And then finally, next week, our program will be the Breast and GYN Health Project. So stay tuned for that. With that, I will turn it back to Melissa.
Thank you, Renee, for everything you can all read in the email. That's right. Read those emails. They're important. All right. We got new members today. Doesn't look like it. Kent, how's it going? You want to talk? You want to say hello? You got anything going on?
No, we just, our Kiwanis just finished our 4-H spaghetti feed yesterday. That sauce was just really outstanding. So, but I don't know how we did yet. I'll find out tomorrow. But that's about it for now.
Awesome. How about Ray? Pop it on.
Okay, I just got in from Eureka.
Me too. I beat you.
Oh, I guess I saw you on the highway.
I flew past you. I was at least going 8.
Yeah, the Kiwanis just had a meet and greet community event over at the Eel River Brewery, and it was a great, successful event. And in fact, we brought in 4 new members, which is just beyond description. As you know, it's critical to have new membership to any growing organization, and it was very successful. So thank you for your support.
Amber Woodward, are you a new member, maybe?
Where is Amber?
No,
Oh, there's Amber.
I'm a current member of Henderson Center, a past member of Fortuna, but I want a really cool sticky notepad at their thing. I was trying to get my husband to join the Fortuna Kiwanis.
Awesome. Okay. Merritt, it's my favorite day of the week. You want to talk?
Does that mean you're going to come to the city council meeting tonight at 6 o'clock at council chambers?
No, I pay someone to do that.
No. Okay. Well, at least you'll be there in spirit and watching.
I'm watching on TV in my jammies and popcorn. Eat my popcorn.
Well, we're pleased to be able to provide that entertainment for you, Melissa. So we have a number of things on there. There's a presentation for National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, and that's, again, really focused at dispatchers and safety dispatchers. We have a number of routine items. One of those includes the authorization of a contract to clean out the city's wastewater treatment percolation ponds, which is done annually. So a routine item, and then appointment of the city manager as a negotiator for the city cell tower site. We have a number of firms that keep making us offers, and so I want to give the council an opportunity to consider that. We have we have the first reading of a public hearing to consider a zoning amendment on and the procedures for the SB9 urban lot splits. So Liz Shorey, our Deputy Director of Community Development, will be bringing that. We'll also be requesting the council approve a drinking water state revolving fund loan grant, which is pretty exciting. It might not sound like it, but it's a $500,000 grant that we're pursuing, really just to identify improvements that can be made in a technical study for the city's water treatment and distribution systems. And then we recently were informed that we received a grant to pay for a little more than half of 4 police vehicles, so we can age out those interceptors and bring them up to speed with some of the more modern SUVs that we have been buying for the police. So we can get rid of some of those old ones. I know the police are looking forward to that. And then we have a number of closed session items, real property negotiation for the Dinsmore cell tower site, anticipated litigation, and then public employee appointments that I'm reviewing with council, including a police dispatcher and public works director. That's all I have for the agenda. Be happy to answer any questions if anybody's interested in any of those items. Or
I mean, I have a question already. I thought FBID discussion was on the
I'm
agenda.
sorry. Yeah, I don't know why that didn't. I must have.
Come on, that's like I think we're all here for that one.
That was torture. Yes, we have a discussion item for the Fortuna Business Improvement District. So we received some of the reports from FBID and the auditor, and so there's been some questions from the public. So this will give the opportunity for the public to ask any questions or say what they would like to the council in open session. So it's, the city is looking at that, and we don't really have we haven't had an opportunity to discuss it since that's been released. That's all I've got. Thank you for pointing that out. I don't know how I missed that one. That one's been a hot topic lately.
Mute me. I don't know how.
Renee.
That everyone is Phoebe, the Cocker Spaniel. And now my dog is whining because he heard her dog whining. So anyway, all right. Thank you, Merritt, for that riveting presentation. And I will see you in person at Favored.
All right.
Do you have an update on when you're going to have your hybrid option available?
We are waiting for hardware, and we have a local tech company who we are waiting to purchase the monitors. We have the cameras up and installed, and apparently those have made the feed a lot better, but I don't have a specific date. We're very anxious to do that. So soon, people can sit at home in their pajamas and participate via Zoom, right?
Does it stream online or is it only through cable?
It's available on Access Humboldt and on YouTube, but right now there's not a way to interact remotely other than coming to the meeting. And when we have the hybrid capabilities, there will be the ability to participate and have your, the live stream of the participant up on the screen during the meeting. So we're excited to do that. And again, we're just waiting for hardware. There's been some delays.
I have a question. And now that the UPS man hasn't interrupted us,
Were you shopping on Amazon? Is that what you're doing?
No, I was getting, there was some Flavor Town stuff coming. What's going on with Easter at the park? I had somebody ask me if Fortuna was doing something. Is it the Kiwanis?
I think Seroptimist. Is it the Seroptimist that usually do the Easter egg hunt?
Ray, unmute yourself, Ray. I know you want to talk, buddy.
I think it's Seroptimist as an Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, fill me in. Who's doing it?
My lips are flapping. Yeah, it's actually a joint venture. We are joining the Kiwanis Club and the Seroptimist Club. They're really spearheading it, and then we're picking up where the Lions left off in previous years. So we're going to be working with the older kids at the park. It will be on Saturday, a week from the 16th, okay? And it should be a lot of fun. It's an Easter egg hunt, and then for the older kids, it'll be a scavenger hunt.
And one interesting fact is don't complain about the lawns at the park because I know they let them grow long for the Easter egg hunt. So it's not lack of maintenance, it's intentional.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point. Thank you, Merritt.
It's hard to hide Easter eggs in freshly cut grass.
We can
And
put
it starts at 10 o'clock.
you can put a blurb in the Enterprise and let everybody know. That's what Ferndale would do.
You're right on that.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it, right? Anybody else have any announcements? Now I got my Easter figured out. All right. Well, we're here to talk about blood today, I think. I'm the one that passes out when the blood comes out. So John's going to tell me how
Good
to do that.
day. We're in the
Welcome,
middle of the
John.
day. Hey, everybody.
Prophet of the year.
Oh, you noticed that, did you?
I did. Take it away.
little brag in there. But for those of you I haven't met, my name is John Gullum. I'm the donor recruitment director at the Northern California Community Blood Bank, which we like to remind folks is our community blood bank. We are a local nonprofit based here in Eureka. We've been serving the Humboldt and Del Norte community since 1951. We do work with blood centers in other parts of the state and other parts of the county, but we are not part of a national organization. We're completely local. And we will see about 6,000 Humboldt and Del Norte residents this year, collecting whole blood and apheresis, which is a process where we collect specific components of individuals' blood. We have a blood center at 2524 Harrison Avenue, Harrison at St. Joe's Lane, right in front of St. Joseph. We also have, I'm going to say 2 2.5 Bloodmobiles. We're working to keep various Bloodmobiles on the road. And we travel from Piercy to Smith River, Willow Creek, Hoopa. We have a website at nccbb.org, where folks, or you can Google Blood Bank Humboldt or Blood Bank Eureka and we'll pop right up. And there's always at least a week's worth of blood drives listed there. We try to keep it up to 2 weeks, so folks can plan ahead for where they want to donate. We're in Fortuna at least twice this week. We'll be at East High on Wednesday and Fortuna High on Thursday. One of the things I want to let everybody know is that there have been a number of recent changes in eligibility. Some of the things that are now shorter deferrals. There have been some changes in Europe travel deferrals. Folks who have traveled or lived in Europe have been deferred for the possibility of mad cow disease. That's been loosened a little bit. Specifically, individuals who were in the US military in Europe, that deferral has changed. Dilemma with mad cow disease is that when we test donors' blood for diseases, the test doesn't actually detect a virus. It detects the antibodies that your body creates to fight the virus. There's a little bit of virus in your blood. There are antibodies everywhere in your blood. Mad cow disease, mad cow disease is something called a prion. It's not actually a virus. So your body doesn't create antibodies for it. So there isn't a screening test available. And the reason that something that was a problem in the 70s is still a problem is that they've had, I think 2 years ago, they had somebody become symptomatic with mad cow disease who hadn't been in the UK since the 70s. It's remarkable. It just sits dormant for that long. But that deferral has loosened up a little bit for folks that were in the US military. Our tattoo deferral, a number of years ago, you had to wait a year after a deferral. It was shortened to 3 months, and now we've removed the deferral as long as the tattoo is healed. What we're saying is once you take the bandage off, you're good to go. That was one of those long holdovers from when people were afraid they were going to get hepatitis from tattoos. That's actually something that we worked with tattoo artists to get changed. They were very much, the reason the deferral was so long was because tattoo parlors weren't actually licensed. And so they were interested in becoming licensed because it would let people know that they were safe. At one point, California actually passed a law saying that tattoo artists would be licensed. That's where they left it. Didn't say who was going to inspect them or anything. Finally, county health departments stepped up and said, hey, we'll do the inspections. And so that's now part of the licensing process. And so we know that tattoos and piercings are safe. So that deferral has been removed. COVID is a subject I just want to touch on. It's been an interesting ride. I, like everybody, I'm hoping that we're looking at the rear end of it. It's been interesting. COVID patients don't need blood products for treatment. The biggest impact it's had on us is kind of twofold. One, employees being exposed or coming down with COVID and not being available to work, as well as donors not being able to not being comfortable coming to the blood bank or a Bloodmobile. The other is that there isn't a big need for blood products when the hospital's full of COVID patients, but when the hospital's full of COVID patients, they cancel the types of surgeries that do require blood. So there isn't much of a need. And then all of those folks who kind of came in a wave, finish their treatment and leave. And all of a sudden they're scheduling surgeries and they need the blood now. So it's, I've told people our industry always does this during COVID, it's done this. It's just been kind of a roller coaster. But Humboldt and Delaware County donors have been absolutely wonderful. They've been responsive to our messages and come in when we need them, as always. One of the things that we're trying to let folks know now, though, is that over the last few years, starting before COVID, there's a national shortage of blood. That's a combination of issues, one of which is just demographic. The baby boomers are starting to get to the age where they're not donating as often, and in some cases are becoming users of blood products. So now there are fewer people available to donate, serving a population that is larger. We've been doing pretty well here in Humboldt County. The biggest impact it's had on us is that we don't have a backup. In the past, we've been able to pick up the phone and call around to blood centers, and at any given time, somebody had an excess, and we could find blood components somewhere. It's just not the case anymore. We don't have that backup available to us. Everybody is short. So one of the ways we've worked to manage that is we maintain a larger than normal for the industry inventory. Most blood centers work on a 3 or 5 day inventory. We maintain a 10-day inventory, and that's been the case for 30 years. Because whether it's finding blood somewhere or getting it here, we're in a unique situation here. So all of the things that make Humboldt County and Delaware County wonderful also present challenges. We use FedEx, we use United Airlines for shipping, any of which can have logistical issues. So we really rely on our community to donate on a regular basis. One of the things that we work to educate folks about is that if there's a terrible car accident or some event requiring blood, those individuals impacted by that are going to get the blood that's already on the shelf. It takes a day to get test results back and get the blood all processed. If somebody hears about an accident and knows there's a need for blood and goes in and donates, that blood's going to go back on our shelves. That blood's not going to go to the patients who need it. They've already gotten blood. That's why we maintain that large inventory. And so what we need to do is be sure that that inventory is always full. The crisis that we're serving is the one that hasn't happened yet. We have no idea what the need's going to be tomorrow. At one point, I went and looked and found 3 dates on the calendar that we had used the largest number of blood components. They had nothing in common. They weren't holidays, they weren't full moons, they were just the day it happened to happen. And that's the challenge we've got, and we want to meet by helping folks to become regular donors. You can donate whole blood every 8 weeks. You can donate by apheresis more frequently. I'm going to watch my time and maybe go into apheresis a little bit more if we've got time. But again, it's the blood that's on the shelf that's going to save lives. Obviously, after that's used, we need to backfill that. But the other issue with the other aspect of that inventory is that all blood products have a shelf life. Our mission is to meet the needs of patients in Humboldt and Delaware counties. We have kind of a secondary mission that if you come in and spend the time, make the effort, let us stick you in the arm with a needle, we want to do everything we can do to ensure that your donation goes to a patient. So as those units get close to their out dates, we'll send them to a hospital where there's a need. So we actually draw more blood components than are needed in Humboldt County. But what that allows us to do is maintain that inventory. And then as it gets close to the out date, we'll send it to a blood center that has hospitals that have a need. That does a couple of things. It allows us to keep the larger inventory, but it also generates revenue, which is something that we need in larger proportion than the community we live in. On paper, it doesn't make sense to have a blood bank here. Most places like ours will have a depot with a couple of employees and refrigerators, and they go to the airport every day. And when the hospitals need blood, they call somebody in an urban area who puts the package together and sends it. We have laboratory services available to hospitals that many small communities don't. And the way we've been able to make that work is by generating revenue by the use of the near their outdate products. Again, the primary reason for that is to be sure that we have enough available, but we also want to be sure that we're not throwing away somebody's donation just because there didn't happen to be enough patients to need it during that time. So it's an interesting business to be in. We are a nonprofit and have all of the things that go along with being a nonprofit. Lots of people who care a lot and are working here because we care. But we also pay workers' comp and all of the other expenses that go along with having employees and running a business. So we need to be fiscally responsible. We have tended in the past not to do a lot of fundraising. Many blood centers have foundations that write grants and do fundraising events and such to help support the needs of the blood center. We've tried not to do that and work on a fee-for-service model, be able to be reimbursed by the hospitals for the blood components they receive for a couple of reasons. One is that, whether it's statistically true or not, I know at one point Humboldt County had more nonprofits per capita than any place in the world. And I think that speaks to the entrepreneurial nonprofit folks we've got in Humboldt and Delaware counties. People love the place and want to be here. And one way to fund that is to write a grant. So we have lots of deserving nonprofits that do wonderful work. And many of them are funded entirely by fundraising. We don't want to take money away from Food for People. I mean, events like Bowl for Kids' Sake, a lot of good is done with that money, and we want to, if possible, keep from reaching into that pot. Though a couple of 2 years ago, we did have a capital campaign for a new Bloodmobile, and that made us feel even better about our community than we already have, because we hadn't done a large capital campaign like that, and had no idea if we were going to be grinding away at it for a year to get the $250,000 we needed. And it took a matter of months. There were a few grants that were written, and then there were literally, we got pocket change from folks. We had folks come on the Bloodmobiles and say, hey, this is what I've got on me right now. Have it. This is such a wonderful community. Everyone who knows about us and donates with us, I'm sure it's an overused cliche, but they're part of the family. And that's something that we have to do. A lot of blood centers in urban areas have more people on their phone list than they can get to, because they have, for all intents and purposes, an unlimited supply of people. Blood center in Sacramento will never get to all of the people in the community. At some point, we're going to hit up everybody in Humboldt and Delaware counties. So our focus really needs to be on getting folks to come back, making the experience as painless as possible, and helping folks to understand what the need is. And to that end, one of the things that we do very differently than a lot of places is, most places, if you go and donate blood, they're going to give you a t-shirt, just because they're in this endless incentive whirlwind, and they hate it. Everybody I've spoken to that has programs like that has lost donors because somebody didn't like the t-shirt. It's hard to maintain, it's expensive, and honestly, the people that we want as donors are the people who are going to donate for the right reasons, not the people who are going to react to the design on a t-shirt, because we need them to be here for the right reasons so that they'll come back. And we've been very successful with that over the years, and I think that's a testament to the people who live in Humboldt and Delaware counties, and the folks that help us out by sponsoring blood drives. We have a couple of different kinds of blood drives. We have drop-in drives where we'll be at Ray's and Fortuna. We have other drives that are sponsored, that are typically anchored by employees of a business. And they'll put out posters and they'll send emails to their employees and invite them to donate. What's different in Humboldt from a lot of places is, I once went with a colleague from the blood center at Stanford. We went to Google. Here's 15,000 people. So if you get 1% of 1% of the people who work in there, you've got plenty. We don't really look at break even for blood drives. It's probably 2 or 3 or 4 units of blood. We get a lot closer to that than most centers do. A lot of centers will cancel a blood drive if they don't have 20 folks signed up. We don't have businesses where the 5% of the population who's willing to donate equals 20 people. We do blood drives in Old Town, and we get employees of some businesses, but when you're the owner and the person behind the counter of the business, you're not going to shut down your business to come donate. And we absolutely know that. So we need everybody in the neighborhood to know we're there. And we'll often put together groups of businesses that are located close together, and not only ask their employees if they're available to come donate, but ask them, the businesses, to put the word out to their customers. If they have an email list, if they have a newsletter, let them know, come on down to the shop and donate blood while you're here. And businesses have been very generous with that. And it makes what we do possible. Like I say, there isn't a Google somewhere with 10,000 people in a building. So we definitely approach it differently than a lot of places do. And it's tremendously rewarding to work with the folks who know when they're eligible to donate and are ready to come in. We have folks that I've looked on their history and I'm trying to figure out why we don't call them. And it's because before we can get around to picking up the phone, they're in a chair. They know, oh, I'm going to be eligible tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow. So that helps us maintain the supply, like I say, constantly throughout the year, a flow of donations that replenish the inventory. Actually, why don't I pause there? I can talk about blood all day long, but if anybody's got any questions, I can certainly.
I could throw out a few. You talked about the shelf life of blood, but can you give us an idea of like what that shelf life is? And then if there is a business that's interested in sponsoring a drive, like what's that process look like?
Okay. The shelf lives are very similar to the interval date between donations. You can donate whole blood or red cells every 56 days because your body regenerates those red cells about every 50 days. And that's the shelf life as well. Plasma can be frozen for up to a year, and platelets last 5 days. I'll jump into the apheresis thing here. Platelets are the part of your blood that promote clotting. We've started using a technology called apheresis. And the way that works is while you're donating, your blood goes into a machine where it's centrifuged. It's separated into its three main components: platelets, plasma, and red cells. And depending on your blood type and our current need, we'll keep one or more of those components and return the others to you. So with some donations on apheresis, you can actually lose less volume than if you were donating whole blood. But what that allows us to do is we can get platelets from a donor whose red cells we don't really have much of a need for. As most people are aware, some blood types can go to anyone, and some donors can only receive certain types. So there is a balancing of all the different blood types within the red cells. AB patients can receive any blood type, which means there's seldom a critical need for type AB. But those donors can donate platelets, and their platelets aren't type specific. But what they can do is they can donate up to 3 treatments, 3 doses of platelets in one apheresis donation, where if we were to get it from whole blood, it would be about half a dose. Plus, we'd have to take all of the other components that we might not need. Basically, the ratio at which we need platelets, plasma, and red cells is not the same ratio that it exists in your blood. So by using apheresis, we're able to take a disproportionate amount of one component without taking the things that aren't as much needed. Platelets have a five-day shelf life. If you've ever tried to get out of Humboldt, you know that can be a challenge. So what we do is, with 2 days left on them, we start calling around to folks who probably have a need. And we have some relationships. We have relationships with Stanford, UCSF. There are actually a couple of, we've sent platelets to Yale, Johns Hopkins. There are hospitals all over the country. One of the things that is a reality is that our need is actually less here than proportionally than in urban areas, because urban areas are where the hospitals are. We go to the Bay Area for treatment. That's where the blood is more needed. So there's always a hospital in an urban area that has a need. So when there are 2 days left on those platelets, we start working on getting them to a patient somewhere. On the front end, it takes a day to get test results. So those platelets are sitting on a shelf here or at a hospital locally for a couple of days, and then we go get them and start working on rotating the inventory. And that's why we're working to recruit so many new platelet donors. It is a very different process. An apheresis donation, between coming in and getting registered and finishing after refreshing for a little bit, can take 2 hours. So it's a very different mindset. I think we'll be in great shape if we can ever get a whole blood donation down to half an hour. At this point, 45 minutes is about as quick as we can do it. But I think people think of a whole blood donation as something they can do on their lunch. Come in, donate, go on to work. With an apheresis donation, it's more of a, I'm going to donate in the morning, go to work in the afternoon, that kind of thing. Just because it's not quick, but the impact is tremendous.
I have a question. The apheresis activity, is that only done in Eureka, or do you have it on your mobile units also?
Well, it's currently only in Eureka. We had a mobile for a while that we were set up to do apheresis on. We're now parting that vehicle out. That it died and it was not economically feasible to fix it. We are looking down the road at investing in a new vehicle, and it will be capable of taking the machinery on board, and we'll restart the apheresis mobile. Yeah, we had folks in Fortuna, Crescent City. We went to Crescent City with the apheresis equipment, and we're tremendously successful because they're so seldom in Eureka. So yeah, that's definitely, it's something that we wanted to try, and it proved to be successful. We just need to make it economically feasible.
Thank you.
You bet. And Kent asked how often you can donate by apheresis. It depends on the components that you're donating. If you're doing just platelets, you can donate once a week or 24 times a year. What we tend to do is ask folks to not schedule every week, because that's a lot. If folks set up an every other week schedule, then that works out to the 24 times a year. And it is a commitment, and jumping on board and saying, great, I'm going to do it every week. It's hard to sustain. It gets to be a chore, and we don't want it to be that for anybody. So we actually ask folks that they look at more of a every other week schedule if they're that committed. If you're donating plasma, you can donate plasma monthly, once a month for plasma, and then we can actually do something. We can do a double red cell donation by apheresis, where we only take the red cells, not the platelets or the plasma. But then the interim period for that is 16 weeks, which is twice as long as a regular whole blood donation. So it's there really isn't an advantage to us to have somebody donate the double, but be out twice as long. So it works out about the same. So we don't have a huge double red cell program. But like I say, every other week for platelets and once a month for plasma.
All right, does anybody have any more questions?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you did.
Oh,
If
yeah,
folks are interested in, second half of your question, if folks are interested in sponsoring a blood drive, they can call a 443-8004 and ask for the recruitment department. There are 3 of us here that can get started on setting up a drive. Or if you go to our website and there's a link there to recruit at nccbb.org, and we'll get those emails. Yeah. And we also work with, one of the things that we started doing more of during COVID are, we call them in-house blood drives, where we set up, we're open until 7 o'clock on Wednesdays. So often we'll do them on a Wednesday night. And we've had Rotary groups, Kiwanis groups, pick that as their drive, and then invite folks in to the center. Just because logistically that can work a little bit better than picking a location, because we can only put people through so quickly during a blood drive. If we take one Bloodmobile, it doesn't work too well at meetings and such. We've done Rotary meetings before where the Bloodmobile's there, but everybody's in the meeting until they're not, and then they all want to donate and then they're gone. So it works out better if we can do some signups ahead of time and kind of spread it over the evening. Who chooses what to donate via apheresis? Our donor care specialists, based on our current inventory and blood types. Typically, and there are a number of things that go into determining if someone's a good apheresis candidate. Primarily platelet count, which is impacted by nobody knows. There isn't enough food you can eat. They have absolutely no idea why some people have more platelets than others. If they did, we'd be giving that out. But if you've got a high platelet count, you're a good candidate. If you've got a lower platelet count and you could donate maybe a single platelet, but you're a type O negative, we're probably going to steer you more toward the red cells, because those are the components. The red cells are O negative red cells are the red cells that are most in demand. So it's, and size, depending on how large you are physically, your total blood volume determines how long you'll be on the machine. So the larger you are, the more blood you have, the more quickly you can go through the process. So.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, John. It's always great having you, and we appreciate your, your partnership with us here at the Chamber too. And that's amazing, the Bloodmobile, that you got that money in a couple of months. That's fantastic. That's great. So good job. Kudos to that. And do you guys have an idea of when the Battle of the Badges, when does that happen?
July or August, we'll be doing that. Actually, one of the things I was going to mention is that we do have a couple of times of the year when it's a little bit harder to get donors in. And so if you're thinking about donating and aren't sure when, summer, when everybody's on vacation, is definitely a little tougher for us. And then traditionally, blood banks have a lot of trouble around the holidays because people are so busy. I think we've been hammering on people about that for so long that we do wonderfully during the holidays, but January 1st, crickets. So we're always looking for groups to sponsor blood drives in August and January, because those are times when we can really use the help. Because I think January, it's dark by 4 o'clock. People just want to go home after work. get some food, go to bed. And then when the weather's nice, everybody's at the beach. So yeah, summer and January are the times that we have the biggest need, but we can also arrange things vary by day of the week. So yeah, we can work things out, whatever folks are interested in terms of setting up a drive or a sponsorship. We'd love to talk to you.
That's good to know. Thank you so much. Awesome. All right. Well, with that, I guess we'll let everybody go. Have a great week, and we will see you next week for our last of our virtual meetings. 3 virtual meetings to go, and then we'll be back in person on May 2nd. So we'll see you next week with Breaston GYN Health Project. Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here.
All right.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.